You ever hear a sound that rips your heart clean out? I did 3 weeks ago when my daughter's therapy llama let out a cry that still haunts my nightmares. But let me take you back to the start, to a time when my biggest worry was a glitchy garage door opener in our cookie-cutter neighborhood in Willow Creek, a sleepy suburb outside Boise, Idaho. I'm Ethan Caldwell, just a single dad trying to keep things together for my girl, Sophie, in a place that felt like it was built by someone who quit halfway through designing a theme park. Picture rows of identical houses, lawns mowed to military precision, and an HOA that acted like it owned your soul. 2 years ago, Sophie and I landed here after a car wreck stole her mom and left Sophie barely able to string a sentence together. Therapy helped, but it was Buttercupor certified therapy llama who brought her back to life. Buttercup wasn't just an animal. She was Sophie's anchor, with soulful eyes, a goofy grin, and a knack for nuzzling Sophie during story time. Me? I coped by tinkering with furniture projects and occasionally yelling into a couch cushion. But for Sophie, Buttercup was everything a four-legged miracle in a polka dot harness. Trouble started with Linda, the HOA president, who had a vendetta against anything that didn't fit her VY shown of suburban perfection. Linda, with her Chris cardigans and a clipboard she wielded like a scepter, took one look at Buttercup and declared her a farm nuisance. I showed her Buttercup's therapy certification, complete with official stamps, but Linda just scoffed, muttering about forged papers. That llama had more legitimacy than half the HOA board, but Linda wasn't VYing it. Then the weird stuff began. One morning, my power tools in the garage flickered off mid-cut. I checked the breakers fine. Reset the outlets nothing. 10 minutes later, everything roared back to life like it was possessed. The sprinklers started dumping water at random, and Buttercup's stable heater kept shutting off. I slapped a voltage monitor on the system, and the readings were wild, spiking and dipping like a roller coaster. I figured a neighbor was messing with heavy equipment, so I emailed the HOA. Linda shot back a curt reply. No reported issues. Check your outdated wiring. She even attached a 12-page guide on approved mailbox colors for no reason. I started hearing grumbles from neighbors. Tom, a retired electrician with a thing for black coffee, said his garage door was acting drunk. Sarah, who walked her poodle in designer booties, swore her smart fridge ordered 20 pounds of shrimp without her input. We compared notes, and the pattern was clear. The power glitches hit hardest near the wooded RAVYNE behind our houses, land the HOA called a community reserve. That patch of trees was mostly where kids snuck off to mess around, but lately, I noticed sketchy trucks parked nearby beat-up rigs with gun racks and stickers bragging about firepower. One dawn, I tailed one of those trucks. At 5:45 a.m., I saw guys in blaze orange hauling rifles and a map with zones marked in red, some creeping way too close to my backyard. When I asked what they were doing, one smirked and said, "Culling coyotes for the HOA." Got the green light. From whom? I pressed. The lady with the clipboard. Handed us the gate keys herself, he said, like it was a done deal. That night, I dug through HOA emails and found a vague line about a wildlife control partnership. No details, no vote, just Linda's word. It clicked. Those hunters were tapping our power grid, rigging generators and gear in the RAVYNE, which explained the electrical chaos. I confronted Linda while she was fussing over her roses. "Did you give hunters access to the back gate?" I asked. She didn't flinch. "We've contracted licensed professionals for land management. It's handled. They're parking 10 feet from my yard," I snapped. "Sophie plays with Buttercup there. You okay with that?" Her smile was pure ice. "Perhaps your llama doesn't belong in a residential area." I wasn't sleeping much after that. I wired motion sensors around Buttercup's stable and switched her lights to battery power. Sophie made a sign Buttercup lives here. She's sweet. Please don't hurt her, and taped it to the fence. I didn't tell her the kind of people we were dealing with wouldn't care. I hoped it'd blow over, maybe just end with another HOA fine for unapproved signage. But then I woke to silence. No hum from the stable, no sprinkler buzz. I glanced out the window and saw one of those trucks again. Only this time, the hunters weren't in the RAVY net hay were at my fence, one with binoculars trained on Buttercup. I sprinted outside, heart hammering, boots pounding the deck. I didn't shout. I couldn't. The air felt heavy, like a storm was about to break. One hunter lowered his binoculars and nudged his buddy, who raised his rifle toward Buttercup, checking his range, but casual, like she was target practice. She was just grazing, clueless, her ears flicking in the breeze. "Hey!" I roared, vaulting the fence to stand between them and her. "What the hell are you doing?" The older guy, with a stained grin, shrugged. "Shit, man. Just scanning the tree line." I jabbed a finger at my private property sign. "That's my daughter's therapy llama. You point that gun again, and we've got bigger problems than your bad aim." The younger one, all buzzcut and attitude, flashed an HOA badge. "We've got clearance. Anything past the utility line's fair game." Utility line? That explained the trench I'd seen dug near the community center weeks back. I thought it was for drainage, but now I knew they were leaching our power like parasites. I led Buttercup to her stable, her head resting against my arm like she sensed the danger. I called the sheriff, who said unless there was a crime, it was an HOA matter. The utility company promised to investigate, but needed days. Days we didn't have. Sophie got home from school, racing to the stable, as usual. She froze when she saw my face. "Is Buttercup okay?" she asked, voice small. "She's fine," I lied, "but stay away from the fence. Some guys in the woods aren't being careful." Her eyes went wide. "Bad guys?" I knelt. "Just people who don't get how special Buttercup is. We'll keep her safe, okay?" She nodded, then ran upstairs, returning with her stuffed llama to place on the windowsill, a tiny sentinel watching the yard. That night, I barely slept, glued to the motion sensor feeds. At 3:17 a.m., a light flashed in the RAVYNEA flashlight. I crept outside and caught someone tampering with a metal box near my fence. A spark flared, then the stench of burning plastic hit me. They weren't just stealing power. They were rigging something dangerous. I snapped photos, sent them to the utility company's fraud team, and called the sheriff again. Then I marched to Linda's officia, repurposed garage with fake ferns and a desk plate screaming community director. She was sipping lemon water when I dropped a stack of photos on her desk. "Explain why your hunters are messing with our power and aiming rifles at my kid's llama." She barely glanced at the pictures. "The conservation group has full authorization. They're within their rights. Then why are they tampering with city utilities?" I shot back. Her smile was venomous. "If you're unhappy, buy a different property." I leaned in. "If I find out you skipped a proper HOA vote for this, you're done." She shrugged. "File a complaint at the next meeting." 3 weeks from now. I turned into a detective after that, digging through HOA records and county filings. No permits, no votes, just Linda's shady deal. Tom tipped me off that no electrical work had been approved in months. Then the utility company confirmed illegal siphoning from our junction box. They'd send a tech next week. Too late. Saturday morning, Sophie was at a friend's sleepover. I was swapping out a breaker when a gunshot cracked the air, deep and final. I ran, legs burning, to find Buttercup swaying, blood staining her white fur. Her eyes were wide, terrified, as she made a sound that broke me. I held her, screaming for help, calling the vet, the cops, Sophie, school, anyone. She was gone before the vet arrived. Grief sharpened me. I wasn't just mad. I was a blade cutting through lies. Sophie stayed at her friend's another night while I planned. The vet handed me the Buleta Hunter's slug-in, said to keep it just in case. IVY cited Mrs. Helen, our neighborhood's 80-year-old gossip queen, who smelled of peppermint and knew every HOA secret. Over tea, she confirmed Linda never held a vote for the Hunters. "It's in the bylaws," she said, slapping a rulebook. "Non-residents need a supermajority approval." "She's dirty." My buddy Ryan, a tech whiz who owed me for fixing his fried outlet, hacked into the HOA's unsecured smart meter data. It showed power spikes matching the Hunters' late-night setups, enough juice for lights, heaters, maybe even drones. I sent everything to the sheriff and emailed the local news station, laying out the saga, the therapy llama, the rogue hunters, the power theft, Linda's cover-up. By noon, a reporter named Jessica called, hooked. "This is gold," she said. "Corruption, heartbreak, And a llama? It's a slam dunk. We filmed in my backyard, Buttercup's empty stable in the background, Sophie's sign front and center. Buttercup lives here. She's sweet. Please don't hurt her. The story aired at 6 p.m., and my phone exploded texts, calls, even a guy from Montana offering a trained alpaca. The HOA called an emergency meeting. Linda stood there, scarf matching Buttercup's fur, spinning a tale of misunderstandings. Mrs. Helen waved the bylaws and demanded proof of a vote. Jessica crashed the meeting with a camera, and the crowd turned on Linda like sharks smelling blood. By the end, a petition to oust her was circulating. Sophie came home, and I told her the truth. She didn't cry, just whispered she was so good. I held her, vowing this wasn't over. I hired an attorney, Rachel, who saw the case and said, "We're torching this." Under the ADEA, Buttercup's death was reckless endangerment. Add power theft and fake contracts, and Linda faced real trouble. We sued, Sarah VYing her at an HOA meeting. Her meltdown ranting about llama hysteria made the 7 p.m. news. EVY Denke piled up. My yard surveillance, Ryan's power logs, Linda's cousin's unlicensed hunting club paid with HOA gift cards. The jury ate it up. Linda was hit with fines, barred from HOA boards, and we got a settlement covering Sophie's therapy and damages. Mrs. Helen became HOA president, turning the RAVYNE into Buttercup's haven, a garden with a plaque, for Buttercup, who healed us all. Sophie joined a program to help traumatized kids, designing its logo. She got a miniature horse, Daisy, and we built a solar-powered stable. The garden became a community hub, with sunflowers Sophie planted blazing every spring. Jessica's final story showed Sophie riding Daisy, saying, "Buttercup made me strong. Now I help others be strong." That line's on a bench plaque now. Linda tried appealing her ban, scribbling, "This was overblown." I laughed her last gasp of desperation. She moved after her lawn got a plastic llama in a wig. Nobody copped to it, but I bet Mrs. Helen knows a craft store. A neighbor said, "Crazy how it started with that power glitch, huh?" It was bigger than that, about people thinking they can bully you silent and the fight you find when they cross the wrong dad. So what do you think? Was Linda just clueless? Or did she know exactly what she was doing? Should HOAs have this much power over your home, your family, your peace? And what about justice? Did Linda's punishment fit? Or should it have been harsher? Drop your thoughts below. Hit that like button if this got you fired up. And subscribe for more stories that'll make you laugh, cry, and maybe check your own backyard.